Joseph Kony was born in 1961 in Odek, a small village in northern Uganda. This village, nestled in the heart of Africa, was a place of simple living and close-knit communities. His family belonged to the Acholi tribe, a group known for its rich cultural heritage and traditions. This cultural backdrop really shaped his early life and what he believed, instilling in him a strong sense of identity and belonging. When he was young, Kony helped out at the local church. This role gave him a sense of authority and importance, making him feel like a significant figure in his community. It also made him seem spiritual and connected to a higher power. But how Kony went from helping at church to being a warlord is a scary story. The transition from a peaceful village life to a life of conflict and violence is both shocking and tragic. What happened to him as a kid planted the seeds for the terrible things he would do later. The experiences and influences he encountered during his formative years played a crucial role in shaping his future actions. Kony's big dreams and ambitions led him down a bad path. His desire for power and control overshadowed any positive aspirations he might have had. We can't ignore how religion played a part in Kony's life. It was a significant influence, shaping his worldview and actions in profound ways. He twisted religious ideas to make what he did seem okay, and to get people to follow him. This manipulation of faith was a key tactic in his rise to power. This twisting of religion was a big reason he became so powerful. By exploiting people's beliefs, he was able to amass a loyal following and exert significant influence. Knowing about Kony's early life helps us understand why he did what he did and how he did it. It provides crucial context for his actions and the devastating impact he had on so many lives. The 1970s and 1980s were a really messy time in Uganda. Idi Amin, a military dictator, was in charge from 1971 to 1979, and he did terrible things to people and wrecked the economy. After he was gone, fights for power made things even worse. For the Acholi people, these years were especially hard. They suffered the most from all the fighting and violence. The Acholi people, who mostly lived in northern Uganda, were stuck in the middle of all the fighting. They lost their homes, had no money, and were always scared. This scary and uncertain time made it possible for people like Joseph Kony to become important. Kony used the Acholi people's suffering to get followers. The Acholi people didn't trust Museveni's government. They were afraid of being treated badly. You could really feel the distrust and feeling of being left out among the Acholi. All this chaos and tension between tribes is really important to understand how Kony became powerful. When the Holy Spirit movement fell apart in the late 1980s, it left a gap in northern Uganda. Alice Lakwena, the leader, was defeated and had to leave the country. Joseph Kony stepped into that gap, saying he was her spiritual replacement. Kony quickly started using violence. He started the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, mixing together ideas from Christianity and traditional Acholi beliefs. Kony wanted the LRA to create a country ruled by religious law based on the Ten Commandments. He said he had visions from God and could tell the future, and that helped him get more followers. The LRA was known for attacking without warning and being very cruel. Kony used these scary tactics to keep his soldiers in line and make regular people afraid. The LRA's reign of terror spread beyond Uganda to nearby countries. The worst thing Joseph Kony did was kidnap children. The LRA kidnapped tens of thousands of kids, forcing them to be soldiers, carry things, and even be sex slaves. Kony did this for a few reasons. It gave him more soldiers, and it terrified everyone else. These kids were brainwashed in a really cruel and organized way. They were often forced to do horrible things to their own families and neighbors. This messed with their minds and made them scared of Kony and loyal to him. The kids were taught to see Kony as a messenger from God. What happened to these kids was truly awful. Many were deeply hurt and are still dealing with the emotional scars. Losing their childhood, families, and education hurt their chances in life for a long time. The terror Kony and the LRA caused had a huge impact on northern Uganda and beyond. At first, the rest of the world was slow to react to Kony's terrible actions, but things changed as news of the LRA's cruelty spread. The stories of abductions, forced child soldiers, and brutal attacks on villages began to reach international audiences, creating a sense of urgency. In 2005, the International Criminal Court, or ICC, said Kony and 4 of his leaders should be arrested for war crimes and crimes against humanity. This was a significant step, as it marked the first time the ICC had issued such warrants for crimes committed in Africa. The ICC getting involved made the world pay attention to what was happening. It brought a new level of international scrutiny and pressure on governments to act. The biggest effort to catch Kony was the Kony 2012 campaign. This campaign aimed to make Kony a household name and to rally global support for his capture. A group called Invisible Children made a video about Kony that went viral. The video was designed to be easily shareable and emotionally compelling, which helped it spread quickly across social media platforms. Millions of people saw it, and suddenly everyone was talking about Kony. The video sparked a global conversation and brought unprecedented attention to the issue. Even though the video made a lot of people aware of Kony, some people criticized it for making the situation seem too simple. Critics argued that it oversimplified a complex issue and didn't fully represent the experiences of those affected. They said it didn't really show what it was like for the people who were actually suffering. The voices of the victims and survivors were often overshadowed by the campaign's broader message. Still, the Kony 2012 campaign got people talking and pushed world leaders to do something. It created a sense of urgency and mobilized a global audience to demand action. The United States, working with African Union forces, sent soldiers to help find Kony and stop the LRA. This collaboration marked a significant international effort to address the crisis. Even though the LRA became less powerful, people still wanted to catch Kony. The quest for justice continued, driven by the hope of bringing peace and closure to the affected communities. Over time, the Lord's resistance army became much weaker. This happened because armies in the area kept fighting them and fewer people supported them. The LRA also had trouble getting supplies, which made them even weaker. The Ugandan army, with help from the United States, attacked LRA hideouts. These attacks hurt the LRA's leaders and made it harder for them to get new soldiers and supplies. Some important LRA leaders were captured or gave up, which made the group even more unstable. Special programs encouraged LRA members to leave the group. These programs promised they wouldn't be punished and would get help starting a new life. Even with all of this, Joseph Kony is still free. The LRA becoming weaker was a big turning point in the fight against Kony. Catching Joseph Kony is still important for countries in the area and around the world. Even though the LRA isn't as dangerous as it used to be, people believe catching Kony is important for justice, and so people can start to heal. The search for him continues, using soldiers, diplomats and spies. New technology has helped a lot in tracking Kony. Pictures from satellites, drones and better communication make it easier to watch remote areas. Countries in the area and international agencies are also sharing information better. Catching Kony is hard because Central Africa is huge and has lots of places to hide. Kony knows how to move around these areas and uses surprise attacks, which makes it tough to catch him. Even though it's difficult, people are determined to bring Kony to justice. The effort to catch Kony shows how much people want justice and want laws to be followed. What Joseph Kony did had a huge and lasting impact on the people and places he hurt. The LRA's terrible actions left deep scars on northern Uganda and nearby areas. Kidnapping children, destroying villages, and forcing thousands of people from their homes created a humanitarian crisis. The emotional trauma and loss that people experienced made it very hard for them to recover and heal. Communities hurt by the LRA have faced many challenges in rebuilding their lives. Important things like schools, hospitals and roads were badly damaged or destroyed during the conflict. Helping former child soldiers and kidnapped people fit back into society has also been very difficult. Despite all of this, the strength of these communities is amazing. Local groups and international organizations have helped a lot in rebuilding efforts. What Kony did reminds us of what happens when violence goes unchecked. The strength of the people who survived Kony's horrors is truly inspiring. Their resilience and determination to rebuild their lives despite the immense challenges they faced is a testament to the human spirit. Many former child soldiers and kidnapped people have bravely shared their stories, which helps us understand how much the conflict hurt people These personal accounts are not just stories of pain, but also of incredible courage and the will to survive. Their stories show how hard it is to fit back into society and how they are still trying to heal. The emotional and psychological scars run deep, and the journey to recovery is long and arduous. These survivors are now working to make things better, using their experiences to teach others and inspire action. They have become advocates for peace and change, sharing their lessons with the world. Getting over the trauma of being kidnapped and hurt requires a lot of support, including counseling and programs to help them rejoin their communities. These initiatives are crucial in helping them rebuild their lives and regain a sense of normalcy. Education and job training are really important to give them new opportunities and help them feel like their lives have meaning. These programs provide them with the skills and knowledge needed to build a better future. Support groups, both local and international, have been really important in helping survivors feel stronger. The sense of community and shared experiences offer a vital network of support and encouragement. Programs that focus on mental health, education, and finding jobs have helped people heal and grow. These comprehensive approaches address the various needs of survivors, ensuring they receive holistic support. The strength of these survivors gives hope to the communities they came from and to people all over the world. Their resilience serves as a beacon of hope and a reminder of the power of the human spirit. Their stories of overcoming hardship inspire others who are facing similar challenges and remind us to be kind and supportive. They show us that even in the darkest times there is always a possibility for light and hope.